Hello everyone, today we are going to be talking about the Obliterators in my reviews. That's right, I've finally got round to one of my favourite units. How I remember them from 5th, when every opposing army would spam having 9 of them, and then use nothing but the las cannons. Las cannons? No, they used the plasma cannons. Yes, they used the plasma cannons. The plasma cannons. Not the las cannons, they never used them, just the plasma cannons, and all they did was annoy everyone because it was such a boring list to play against. So, Games Workshop have decided, in all goodness and fairness of the game and in making things interesting, to not allow you to spam anymore. You are not allowed to fire the same weapon in 2 consecutive turns. A lot of people boo-hooed about this, but you know who boo-hooed about it? It was the ones who spammed the plasma cannons and used nothing but plasma cannons. Serves them right, to be honest. I like that rule. I think it's a bit more interesting, makes the unit more interesting, and yeah, I like it. However, on to the main things. You are no longer fearless, so you cannot just walk into anything and then tie them up for a bit, or you cannot just go into people's point of fire and get yourself shot up. You could run away. You actually could run away quite often, as you're only leadership 8. You can make yourself leadership 9 for 3 points. But if you remember, you used to be 75 points in the old rules book to be fearless. In this rulebook, you're 70 points to not be fearless at leadership 8. And it costs you 3 points to become leadership 9. Why didn't they just put plus 2 points to being fearless? Why not just be fearless? I don't know. I'm not a Games Workshop, don't ask me. Anyway, weapons. This is the big interesting part for Obliterators, because that's all you're buying for. They're guns. The first gun they have on the list is their assault cannon. This is the newest gun, which I'm finally glad we have, because if you remember, you bought one out of the metal blister pack, and it had an assault cannon you could glue to it. You glued the assault cannon to it and go, great, that's a great accessory that I can't use in any game whatsoever. Fortunately, they have changed this, so we can now have a damn assault cannon. Yes! Assault cannons, basically 4 shots, strength 6, AP4, rending. It's our only one of the only rending weapons in the game for us. Thank God we have one. If you have Obliterators, use the assault cannon sometimes, please! Just for the sake of doing rending. How many times have you rolled up in a Land Raider, or your Dreadnoughts, or your tanks and everything, and then someone's got a stupid assault cannon and rendered you and blown you up? How annoying is that? That happened to me in a tournament where 2 Land Raiders got blown up by a single assault cannon. In 2 consecutive turns as well. Unfortunately, these guys can't fire them in 2 consecutive turns, but never mind, we'll get to that point soon. Assault cannons, they are useful for killing infantry, and killing tanks, and killing flyers. So they're useful against everything. They can destroy anything because they can rend the armor 14s, they can rend anyone, they can take out Terminators with the rending, they can take out monster creatures with being strength 6. It's a very nice all-round weapon. However, it's only 24-inch range, so make sure there's somebody close by to what you're shooting, or close by to your Obliterators, so the thing that you're shooting doesn't just make a beeline for your Obliterators and splashes them out all over the place. They're a very expensive squad if you have 3 of them, and you should never ever only have 1 or 2, I think. Now you should have 3 all the time. Second weapon is the Heavy Flamer, and you should never actually be using this weapon in a battle. unless you somehow really, really need to in desperacy. Desperacy, is that a word? Yes, I'll make it one now. Desperacy. It means when you are desperate. Add that to your dictionary. So, Heavy Flamer, you shouldn't really use it. Strength 5 AP4 template. I don't mean you shouldn't really use it, you shouldn't be using it if things work. Las Cannon. All round good weapon, anti-tank, you know the gists. 48-inch, it's what we always use to get rid of heavy things. Use it sometimes. Multi-melter. Same burden as the assault cannon. However, you are a multi-melter, strength 8 AP1. So you can instant death things quite nicely, and you can take out tanks. If the things are 12 inches away and you decide to use that, you gain the melter bonus. But what's going to be 12 inches away from you? That's a tank that deserves the melter bonus. Unless it's a drop pod dreadnought, you again shouldn't be using this. Plasma cannon. The spamming of the plasma cannon has stopped. Yes! So, plasma cannons, strength 7 AP2, you know the gist of them too. Hopefully you do. If you don't, where have you been for the last edition and a half? These, obviously, hordes, marines, terminators, they're good for all-round killing infantry. Twin Link Flamer, exactly like the Heavy Flamer, but the numbers have swapped around so that strength 4, AP5. Yeah, and you shouldn't be using these weapons because they shouldn't be anywhere near you. Twin Linked Melter Gun. You should only use this weapon if somebody has dropped something close by. If not, do not use this weapon. Twin Linked Plasma Gun. I actually like the Twin Linked Plasma Gun. I think it's a good justifiable weapon. This is because when shit hits the fan, quite literally, and you need everybody everywhere at once, using Twin Link Plasma Guns on Obliterators to kill a monstrous creature, or Terminators, is very, very justifiable. You roll 3s to hit with rerolls 2 misses, and you ignore your overheats from the rerolls. Then it's 2 to wound on anything and everything, apart from monster creatures where it be 3s, and then no one will get armor saves from that. It's a good justifiable weapon to go, I need to kill that monstrous creature, or I need to kill them Terminators. Pew pew pew. Use that. Oh, pardon me. Yes, the next bit, where it says, all Obliterators must fire the same weapon a turn. Fair. You should then not be able to fire the same weapon the next turn round. So, you cannot spam your plasma cannons, you cannot spam assault cannons, you cannot spam las cannons. You can't spam, basically, you have to alternate your weapons. Which brings you to a conundrum, because you can't fire at the same target like a Havoc squad, or anything like that has rail cannons or stuff that's just great for taking out a tank. You have to fire at a tank. If you fail to blow that tank up, you can't fire at that again with the same weapon. Say if you fired at it las cannon because it's across the board, you failed to do anything, you have got to turn around and shoot something else with a different weapon. So how do you get around this, is my question. And this is the answer. You have 2 squads. These 2 squads will help you as you can alternate between the 2 squads what fires what weapon at what. Fires what weapon at what. Say, like, for example, someone has a Lehman Russ squadron with battle cannons. Not too scary to Obliterators. You can have 1 squad on one side and 1 squad on the other side. 1 squad fires las cannons at that squad. First turn. The other squad picks on something else with a different weapon. Next turn, the squad on the other side fires las cannons into the tanks. The squad on that side that have just fired the las cannons picks on something else. Continue alternating between squads until either you're dead or the thing you want is dead, or the thing you want we want to be dead has become not worth it anymore, you can swap targets, or you can just change into going into infantry stuff and things like that. It doesn't have to always be tanks. You can just pick on anything you want. Just make sure you have one unit firing at them, one unit firing at something else. So next turn you have the one unit firing at them, one unit firing at something else. People might say this is bad because why not just fire all 6 las cannons into your enemy's Leman Russers at once? Fair point if you want to do that, but then next turn both squads have to fire at something else. And both squads might not have something else to fire at with a different weapon, or they might not be in the greatest position. So if you fire one squad at a time at them tanks, you are continuously hitting them and making the dice rolls, hopefully going to do something, whilst you're not overcommitting one turn and not being able to commit a next turn. You're giving yourself an even advantage throughout instead of going big advantage, no advantage, big advantage, no advantage, which I find is a better way around things. I wouldn't get 3 units of Obliterators. I think now in the heavy support section of this codex there are sufficient things to have alongside them or in case or instead of them. But I wouldn't say no to them completely. I think 1 unit might work on its own and 1 unit of 3 if you're not going for that squad has to destroy that squad. So you can't go, them 3 Obliterators must blow up that Land Raider. Because the odds are against them now. It used to be, yes, las cannons every single turn until it pops. Now you're not so lucky, so you go, well, you have to think on your feet with them. You have to go, what's available for them to kill at this time? Right, we're too far away from everything, so las cannons into that tank at the back. Next turn. Right, we're a bit closer to things. Plasma cannons into that heavy troop squad over there. Okay, next turn, we're a tiny bit closer. The assault cannon into that numerous squad of people over there that are getting quite close. Next turn, las cannons back into that tank because they've gone away and they're not as dangerous as they were before. So now Obliterators are used instead of just going destroy one squad, next turn destroy one squad, next turn destroy one squad. They are going take a bit off that, take a bit off that, take a bit off that, which is a better way to use them, I think. You can easily combo them with something, say something they fire at, a unit of Havocs fires at, or a unit they flame, your Helldrake appears out of the corner and flames. Things like that. Don't have them sitting on their own. No, have them doing something useful as well. They'd be good for sitting around your objectives, say your objective holding squads, and just protecting them. They're quite good. They can dish out lots of firepower in one turn, and they can join a charge with your Space Marines to, say, if an Overwatch is happening, to make sure the Overwatch goes into your Obliterators, because they'll take any Overwatch with smiling faces, and then your Chaos Marines are free to charge the back of the squad that's taken your Obliterators. And also, 9 Power Fist attacks with 2+ armor saves and 2 wounds is something not to be overestimated, which is great. The last bit, which I seem to have missed, but however, we shall look at it now. Marks. You can get Marks of Chaos for your Obliterators. 1 mark you can get for 1 point. Bargain? No. It's the Mark of Slanesh, +1 initiative. You're initiative 1, you have a Power Fist. You're always going to be initiative 1. Don't bother getting it. You're slow and purposeful, you can't chase people down. So that's the most useless upgrade known to the history of Chaos. Number 2, Mark of Khorne. Quite useless, I'd say. Why would you want rage with them, and why would you have counterattack? You're not going to get in combat unless you really need to. Number 3, Mark of Tzeentch. Well, this one can be quite useful because your 5+ invulnerable can be improved by 1, so you have a 4+ invulnerable. More chance, my screen just disappeared completely. Oh god, there we go. More chance of surviving las cannon hits and missile hits and things like that. And your last and greatest mark of Nurgle makes you toughness 5. You know what it means. You ignore instant death from any strength 8 or strength 9 weapons. So anything that can instant death you before cannot. Only thing that can instant death you is rail cannons and demolisher cannons and orbital bombardments, if they're there. And that strange thing the Eldar people do where they link up to grav tanks to make one shot really powerful, that's really confusing. I don't understand how that works. However, it chops down quite a lot of things that can kill you. So your toughness 5, 2 wounds, 2+ armor save. You are hard, and that +1 toughness is only 6 points. Bargain, I'd say. To have 3 Obliterators with Veterans of the Long War, which they need to not run away, and Mark of Nurgle, which I say they need so nobody kills them with las cannons all the time, makes them 237 points. This is expensive. This is 7 points more than a Land Raider. And a Land Raider has probably a bigger survivable factor than Obliterators do. So, you have to look after them. And you have to justify why you're taking them in your army. You can't just take them and go, well, everyone else has them, so yeah. That's not good enough. You have to say, I have these because they do this, and I'm going to use them for that. I have Obliterators in my army to keep my objective squads alive, and just to get in the way of shit, and to make sure my enemy shoots them. Yes, your enemy is going to spot Obliterators on the field and prioritise them as a target. They always will for a while because of what happened in 5th edition when you used plasma cannons all the time, no other gun because it's so imaginative. So, yes, you are going to have to think of a way for using them. My thing of making my enemy shoot them is, you say that's really stupid, you just said they're really expensive. They're expensive, but who said they're the main part of my army? I didn't. They're not important. They can die. I don't mind. So that's it for today. Please comment on what you think. Comment on my t-shirt. How awesome is this t-shirt? Look at that. Comment on what you think about what I think about Obliterators. What I think of what you... Comment, basically. And thank you for listening.